Hi guys, it's Coach King.
And Miss Naughton here.
And we're here to do this week's lesson on natural selection.
So get a pen and paper and maybe some markers, because there are some pictures that you could draw to help you better understand natural selection. So listen up and get ready to learn.
All right, let's begin. Resources are the things in the environment that is needed for survival. It is often limited, which means it can be used up. There's not enough for every organism to go around.
Here's a picture of some of the resources that you would see in an environment that an organism might need. And this is what you might want to sketch.
All right, the organism needs air. We know that we either breathe oxygen or exhale carbon dioxide. It's going to need food in order to get the nutrients it needs to survive. It wants to find a mate so that it can produce more of its kind.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And the shelter, he needs a home to live in.
All right, so these are the resources that organisms need. All right, competition. Competition is the effort of two or more organisms acting independently to get those resources that we just talked about that are in short supply. Here's a picture of a couple rams that are fighting and competing.
Variation are the differences in shape, structure, and function of different organisms. It's caused by sexual reproduction, which we will talk about again later on before the end of the school year, or mutation, which can happen randomly or with a little bit of help, but in general they happen randomly. Okay, for instance, you see the picture of the two deer here. The one on the left obviously has white fur, the one on the right with brown fur, but they are the same species.
And look at this picture. You've got two human ears, which some of us have either one of these. We have the dangling earlobe that's right here, and then we have the attached earlobe that is right here.
And if you don't know, take a few moments, look in the mirror after you're done with your notes and see what kind you have.
Yeah. All right. Adaptation. Adaptation are a useful trait that helps an organism to survive and which gives it an advantage in its environment.
For instance, you see that you have these two moths here on a black background. The black moth is a little bit more difficult to see because he's better able to blend in. The one on the right, the peppered moth, he's a lot easier to see, so he's more likely to be eaten for dinner because the bird can see him from far away.
And this is called camouflage. It's a type of adaptation called camouflage. Okay? Overpopulation. This is when you have too many organisms in one environment. If this happens, it can definitely lead to competition.
Overpopulation can lead to competition because there's not enough resources for the organisms that are competing for those resources. Due to the competition, some of the organisms with useful traits will live on, such as the speed of this fish, but others will die, like this one, and may become dinner. This is called survival of the fittest.
All right, here's an example. The usefulness of traits depends on the resources and the environment. You notice we have three different types of fish. We've got brighter stripes fish that are red and blue. We've got a skinny body fish and a speedy swimmer. And Coach King is going to look at the positive and negatives about each one of these types of fish.
All right, the brighter fish, it's able to better attract a mate, which is a positive, but negatively it's more visible to predators. The skinny body is able to hide or live in small holes, but may not be strong enough for defense. The speedy swimmer is better able to escape quickly from predators. However, it needs lots of energy or food in order to be able to swim as quickly as he does.
All right. Number 3, organisms that have useful traits, which of course are called adaptations, will survive and they will produce, just like this picture at the bottom. They pass the traits on to their offspring. What does offspring mean, Coach?
Offspring refers to the babies or children that they have. So you see in this picture here, we have both the skinny fish and the bigger fish. Notice that the bigger fish is dying out because for whatever reason it is not suited for the environment. So it's not going to be able to reproduce. We see the skinny fish is able to reproduce because it's living longer in that environment. The bigger fish will be able to do some reproduction, but notice that they don't produce as many offspring as the skinny fish does.
The end result, the environment now has a lot more organisms that have that certain trait. This is natural selection.
And natural selection says that nature chooses the traits that will increase in the population.
All right. Now, this next part is about Charles Darwin, the scientist that's actually developed this theory of natural selection. So we've got 5 major points that we need to make sure that you understand and learn. This is the explanation that we've been exploring this whole time with the iguana activity and the bean lab that we're doing in class on Monday and Tuesday.
The first major point, organisms produce more offspring than can survive. You can see in the picture there's tons of baby turtles. They will not all make it to the ocean because there will be birds waiting to eat them, but they produce that many because not all of them will survive.
Point number 2, there is competition among that offspring for food, space, and other resources. Many times in the animal kingdom or the animal world, reptilian, amphibian world, they compete against each other. They don't they, Coach? They
Yes.
kill their own brother or sister because they want to survive.
Number 3, there's variations among the offspring of an organism caused by genetic differences. We can see that there's 5 little puppies there. 2 of them are all black. 2 of them are black and white, and 1 is brown. But note that they are all the same species, they just look a little bit different. Kind of like if you have brothers and sisters. Unless you have an identical sibling,
like you,
twin, like I do, then you're going to notice similarities among the siblings, but they are not necessarily an exact duplicate of each other, like these puppies here.
Number 4, individuals with certain traits are better suited to survive in their environment than those without the traits.
Like we see here, these 2 foxes. Which one is more likely to survive in their environment? The fox on the left, the red fox, or the Arctic fox on the right? If you guess the one on the right, the one that's all white, you're right. He's better able to blend in. It benefits him 2 ways. 1, he will be able to hide from predators, and 2, he will be able to hide from any food he would like to capture and eat. The fox on the left will probably go hungry.
Number 5, the last point of our notes. Organisms that survive and reproduce pass the genes for their useful traits to the next generation. This is natural selection. Now, boys and girls, make sure you finish these notes and then go watch the video that is in the other thing in your folder. And all of this is due on Wednesday. We have an open note quiz.
Bye. You'll have a great evening.